So, this is a problem I've noticed for some time now, and I don't think there's been any serious discussion to fix it. As the title of the video suggests, it's the repercussions of OnlyFans and the wider simp culture. And it seems to me that the majority of the discussion around this topic is to ridicule, laugh at, or negatively call out the men who are in this culture. You know the titles given to these men too. Incels, nice guys, soy boys. And while there certainly are appropriate times to call out people being creepy or giving terrible advice, I don't think this has done anything to fix the problem itself. We laugh or hate on these men for acting the way they do, yet I haven't seen much to try to change what they do or educate them on why their actions are harmful. It's kind of as Ultron said.
I'm sorry, I know you mean well. You just didn't think it through. You want to protect the world, but you don't want it to change. How is humanity saved if it's not allowed to evolve?
Like, think about it. When someone roasts you for something you believe in or something you think you can't control, you more likely than not go deeper into your belief system, often fanatically. There's a lot of broken men who need help and just want to be heard. Hopefully this video can be the beginning of giving a healthy voice to these men, and perhaps I can offer some ways to help. Before we dive in, I'd like to note that I'll be using generalities in this video for language purposes and to get my point across. Of course, not every man or woman has the same qualities, meaning not every person is part of the problem or fits into a box. I also don't want to invalidate anyone's personal experience when it comes to dealing with men or women. Please take all of that into account whenever I make a probably triggering comment. I'll also just be talking about straight relationships because that's my experience and the big point of contention in the simp culture. But if you are part of the LGBTQ+ community, I hope you can take something away from this video. With all of that out of the way, I'd like to clarify what a simp is. Urban Dictionary has a couple of definitions for the word, but the one I like the most is a guy who's overly desperate for women, especially if she is a bad person, or has expressed her disinterest in him, which he continues to obsess over. This can be done both online and in person. It's a lot easier to tell when someone is simping online because this often involves giving lots of money to women they will never meet, or obsessively defending a woman online whenever she gets any criticism.
Sorry, Sniper Wolf does not need to be deplatformed. He should have been happy that he could see Sniper Wolf in person.
She should never have apologized for this. That person's a piece of shit. Like, if I was YouTube, I would have deleted his channel. Like, I 100% would.
When it comes to being in person, I feel there's some confusion as to the difference between being a gentleman and a simp. But trust me, there is a distinction. For example, let's just pretend this is possible and say I have a chance to date Sabrina Carpenter. If I do things like compliment her, open the door for her, or kindly ask her out on a date, that's being a gentleman. Yes, I am being proactive in how I think about her, but I am still respecting her boundaries. Whereas if I play detective to see what she likes, know where she goes, make periodic and unwanted sexual advances, or make myself her butler, that is being a simp. I'm not respecting her boundaries, and I'm holding her up to this elevated status. And this particular attitude has become a big problem, especially as our world becomes increasingly online. And part of the reason why the lines between being a gentleman and a simp are becoming blurrier is because of modern dating practices. I'll go over a few points as to why these are driving simp culture. People in my generation have kind of driven away from more traditional practices, one of these being dating. Back in my parents' day, guys would explicitly state their intentions whenever they approached a woman they found attractive. Whether that be a date or a phone number, there'd be a quick resolution to the scenario. And there'd be other guidelines the guy would have to follow, such as picking the girl up from her house, shaking the hands of the father right before so, and paying for the date. Now, obviously, men being coercive or avoiding consent was and still is a huge problem, and allowing women to be proactive in dating and not just reactive is a great thing, actually. But we've moved so far from traditional dating that guys just don't say their intentions, which leads me to my second point. And I'm not just talking about polyamorous relationships. I'm talking about the way people start dating. Like, there seems to be two extremes in the modern dating world. Either you meet someone and you have a one-night stand or some form of fling, or you become friends with someone and you two get lucky enough to fall in love and you actually act on it. I'll go more into why this is how things are in a bit, but let's keep it a $1.50. Men don't ask out women on dates anymore. It actually seems to be kind of a rarity. Pew Research Center says that in 2022, 63% of men under 30 are single, and only 50% are even looking for a romantic engagement. And to be honest, for me, it really depends on the day whether I'm in that 50% category. Like, for the most part, I've only asked out girls based on calculated risk rather than just going for it. The only men who seemingly do well in the dating sphere have just the right amount of riz or are attractive enough to make women forget about potential red flags. Most guys aren't on that attractiveness level to women, and when they try their quote-unquote riz, it either comes off as creepy or too shy. While not strictly related to romantic relationships, an article in the New York Times discusses several studies that suggest what you watch influences the way you view the world. But let's look at some examples of how a lot of relationships are portrayed now. Movies like Twilight or After show a girl who falls in love with a broken man in an attempt to fix him. Of course, there's a lot of toxicity that arises from that relationship, but these stories rarely show that it's a problem. A lot of guys see the popularity of these franchises and think being like these male characters will get them ladies, when in reality they are setting themselves up for failure. In Suits, we see a lot of women overly sexualized, and characters will kind of just get laid with people, and they'll talk about being exclusive much later. I actually think Suits is a really good show, but I think the way a lot of the characters form relationships isn't particularly healthy. And in 13 Reasons Why, Clay has always been too afraid to tell Hannah his feelings. When he announces his feelings to her, he says,
"I like the name Hannah."
And they almost sleep together. Like, I was saying I like the name Hannah, saying how he feels about her. And look, I'm not here to hate on anyone who fell in love with their friend, has used subtle comments to win someone over, or has been in a fling. If you're in a healthy relationship, then how you met doesn't really matter. And adding subtlety can add layers to your romantic dialogue. But there's so much subtlety with romantic language now that it's hard to tell when someone is flirting or just being nice. I think dating shows have also distorted how we view finding love, but I think it takes too long to say why they do. And frankly, I think a lot of people just watch them for the drama and the visual appeal. And my last point is, I don't want to go too much into this topic since I have refused to do any online dating, but these are my main criticisms. First, online dating companies make so much money from people using their apps. Why would they want to lose customers? It's probably not far-fetched to say these apps are designed to make people stay single, or maybe they just have a fling every once in a while. Second, people really become commodities on dating apps. Like, you select who you swipe right by who looks the best or has the best description, as if people are Amazon products. For these two reasons alone, I don't like dating apps and I won't use them. There's an amazing video by Memeable Data that explains a lot of the problems with online dating, specifically for men. I highly recommend you check out that video afterwards. All of this is to say that men don't know how to date anymore. I haven't even mentioned how modern feminism has led to all this. No, I know people are going to start saying I'm a misogynist or something, but hear me out. And this is based on my own experience too. The rise of third and fourth wave feminism has certainly given women a lot more freedom and agency in our world. And in general, that's a good thing. Sexual harassment and abuse is one of the biggest points feminists bring up, but what that means largely depends on the individual. For example, there are videos of women who go to the gym, quote-unquote, exposing men for staring at them.
I hate this. I hate this. I hate when there's sweaters. It makes me so uncomfortable. Feral. Excuse me? You don't have to do that. It's okay. No, it's okay. I got it. Thank you, though.
Watch this guy try move to me at the gym. Checks absolutely nothing on his phone. Looks over at me being busy sorting my wrist straps. Makes a swift return. Sad lip.
These guys glance at them mostly because the girls are kind of just in their vicinity recording themselves, or they're near a gym equipment that they're about to use. And even if these guys do find the woman attractive, there isn't really any real evidence here to suggest these men are creeps. Other things have been pointed out as sexist too, like giving a woman any compliment based on her appearance or being helpful to a stranger. They'll say phrases like, I don't need no man to open the door for me. And it goes further. I've heard so many times, and by people I'm really close with, the world would be a better place without men, or man, or I hate men. If I said these things about women, I would be hated on, and rightfully so. But saying these phrases about men seems to be socially acceptable. It's no wonder men are refusing to date or interact with women now. A lot of guys, myself included, are really tired of this contradiction and the moving goalposts. Like, one day looking at a girl is considered flirting, and the next it's sexual harassment. So, a lot of men have just decided to abandon dating, either because they're worried they'll offend someone, or they're tired of feminism being shoved down their throats. So, a guy can't get a girlfriend or has refused to do so.
What's the big deal? It doesn't hurt anybody.
I mean, isn't there so much more to life than romance? Well, yeah, obviously. But at least for me, it's kind of hard to remember that sometimes. So many family members continue to ask me when I'm getting a girlfriend, as if I can control that. And almost every piece of media seems to have some contrived romance storyline just to make the story more complex, I guess. So seeing that all the time, plus seeing your friends having partners, it starts to make you feel there's something inherently wrong with you for not finding a partner. And it's not like I can just turn off the feeling of wanting to be with someone. You can only take so many hits before you crack. And because everyone seems to elevate the importance of being in a relationship, not being in one starts to define you. With this, there are two outcomes. One, this has led to guys joining communities such as Men Going Their Own Way and other men's rights activist groups, which I'll dive deeper into on another video because that's a whole topic on its own. What I'll be saying here though is the second, men becoming addicted to sites like OnlyFans. And now it's time to talk about probably the most controversial part of this video. For those who have somehow never heard of OnlyFans, it's a subscription-based social media platform where you can purchase content from a creator. The most prevalent type of content on there though is very sexual. An attractive woman will show suggestive pictures of herself, and a lot of people, primarily guys, will pay the subscription to continue seeing more pictures or videos of her. This is where the simp culture really spirals downward. Because when guys believe they cannot find love or refuse to interact with women in real life, they go to online sites that get straight to the point. Guys will pay literally thousands of dollars to women they will never meet. They begin to fantasize about them and essentially idolize these women. Of course, there are sites other than OnlyFans like Twitch or The Hub where guys go to for content. But the reason OnlyFans stands out is because selling your images on that site seems to be a viable career, kind of, since women like Bella Thorne have made millions on OnlyFans. And here's the weird part to me. Modern feminists seem to be okay with this. We have to support sex workers, or I can't blame a woman for making money. But what I don't understand is that we've come to this conclusion that men shouldn't objectify women. But if a woman is doing it to make money, then it's okay if she objectifies herself? Now, I can certainly empathize with someone who thinks sex work is the only way out of their economic situation. But OnlyFans seems to be more of a side hustle. Like, let's be real. Posting your images on OnlyFans is not as labor intensive as most jobs are, and I don't even think the average woman makes as much money as some of these top creators do. And I think this is detrimental to both men and women. Like, really the only benefit I see to sites like OnlyFans is that women now have agency in how they objectify themselves instead of like a pimp doing it. But does the lonely dude on the internet really care if it's a pimp or a random girl creating the content? No. At that point, he doesn't care who objectified her or how, as long as he gets pleasure from seeing a hot woman. And like, he's still gonna objectify women, right? Like, this doesn't really change the way men feel about women. And because this behavior is driven by dopamine, simp behavior can become extremely addictive. It's hard for me to give clear statistics on all this since this is such a new and taboo topic, but one study indicated that 11% of men self-reported they were addicted to porn, and more than 2/3 of OnlyFans followers are men. The CEO of OnlyFans says there's like 200 million people who use the site. That means there's about 130 million men using OnlyFans. Again, whether because they feel ashamed or they don't believe it's an addiction, it's gonna be hard to get a lot of guys to say they have an addiction to these sites. And let's keep it a $1.50. These women benefit from the desperation of men on sites like OnlyFans. So this notion that it's okay for women to do OnlyFans because they get some money just needs to stop. Like, people have been mad at others getting money for far less egregious things. Like Disney making live action remakes of their classic stories, or Dar Man making cringe videos, or even Mr. Beast making a video about curing blindness. Why is it so controversial for me to say we shouldn't objectify women? I feel sites like OnlyFans actively cause harm, while other examples like the ones I've stated are pretty menial in comparison. So, is there a solution to anything I've talked about? Well, I don't want to say I have a proven answer because everyone's situation is different, and this is obviously a wider societal issue. There have been people who've talked about this issue, but a lot of it's either to sell you a course or kind of just to ridicule these men. I will say, Maccabee Storytelling has an amazing video that covers a lot of what I've discussed here. And the channel Daily Disciple has a Christian lens to this message. I think they both do a great job of explaining the problems based on their own experiences. If you feel inclined, you should check out those videos. If there are any men watching this video who resonate with anything I've said, I want to let you know that you have worth and you are valued. Don't feel you are pathetic or unworthy of love just because you haven't been able to be in a relationship. I don't want to say just get a girlfriend or start asking girls out, because I know how hard it can be to do that nowadays. I've struggled for a long time to get a girlfriend, and idolizing these women online has led me to the realization that I'm just trying to fill a void in my life, and simp culture ultimately just makes that void deeper. Instead, I suggest finding a community that supports you and actually wants you to grow. I'm not talking about some of these men's rights or pickup artist groups who just want your money, but engaging in a community with real connection is something I think a lot of people need right now. Whether that be your family, friends from school, community groups that do the hobbies you like, maybe even some people you met through Discord. I can't tell you how much the communities I've been a part of have really helped me with my mental health. And if the problem is really bad, perhaps consider therapy. I hope this allows you the opportunity to see not just women, but yourselves and everyone you interact with as people, with their own struggles and experiences. And hopefully if you do seek a community or therapy, it can fill part of that void in your heart, or you can vent your feelings to someone who cares about you, rather than putting your energy into someone who is just using you for money. I've put some links in the description to the videos and info I've mentioned, and some resources for people who need help. Thanks for watching my video, and may the force be with you.